It's recording.
Of the treatment. And then and then start treating people from a distance and having classes and so on. And we thought, we'll just do the whole thing together here. Let's just bring it all in together and do a full Monty online. And our focus, where Angel and I have a lot of crossover, is on the focus of emotions. So we look a lot at, if you look at antiquity, a lot of the things in Chinese medicine were addressing the external elements and how they were having an effect on your person because you were out in them all the time. You were subject to them. How do most of us live now? Not like that. We're pretty sheltered, air conditioning in a lot of places. It's just not the same type of stressors we used to have. So much of it is within us. And those are emotions. They've always been a factor, don't get me wrong, but it's really the factor now, unless you have a really crappy diet or something. And so we're going to work together on the whole emotional focus of what's going on inside of you. And so my lens is from this angle. I use a little doll right here to serve as a surrogate, where I put all of your energetic DNA onto it, and then I treat that with virtual needling. I won't use the hammer because it's a bit disruptive, because once I stop talking here in a second, it will be Angel doing all the talking, and I will be silently over here working on all of you, all right? So Angel gets to tell you now how she's going to approach her side of working on everybody.
All right, so what I'm going to do is, number one, ask you guys to just kind of, and put into the chat what you would like to work on. It can be something physical, it can be something emotional. It doesn't matter. Keith is going to work on your organ systems and meridians and extraordinary vessels,
Whoa,
channels,
good job. Good
all
job.
that stuff. And I'm going to really take in the emotional soup, just how I like to call it, and really feel what's going on with all of you as a group, and take that kind of dense, negative, stuck emotional energy and take it through a process of transforming it into healthy emotional energy, which you will definitely be able to feel through the process, and you'll definitely be able to feel that at the very end, where you'll feel relaxed, and usually people report feeling very peaceful. And sometimes people fall asleep, which is fine if you fall asleep. So while I'm going through this process of transforming the emotions of the group, what I allow to happen is I take in all of the emotions so that I'm kind of possessed by them and allow them to speak. So as the emotions are transforming, we will get to hear what they're saying. And they always have a really interesting message for us and how we can handle life and how we can navigate life better.
We'll start checking these over here. We have a lot of chat coming up here, and I want to address Frank over here because Frank's brand new to what we're doing, and other people might be as well. So Frank says, I physically most everything's pretty good, but what I'd like maybe is strengthening my back for tonight's talk and a little bit of stretch. And so when I'm looking into that, I'm feeling, okay, what's going on along these, huato points along the back that all have an intervertebral space connection, energetic connection to all the organ systems, which then of course have all this connection to the physicality in the body, all the muscles and so on. So I'm feeling for, well, what might be helpful for Frank? Well, the first thing that pops out for Frank, and I'm not going to share all your stuff here, Frank, because you didn't ask me to do this. I'll keep it vague, but I feel his lungs. And it doesn't mean his physical lungs. In fact, I don't feel as much physical lung as I do emotional aspect of Frank's lungs. So I'm going to address that part of Frank's energetic makeup, because I think ultimately, if I don't address what the priority he's giving me is, I'm ignoring the elephant in the room. So that's how we work with all of you. We're feeling for that priority organ system that's calling out to us. Is that going to help Frank's back? It really could, because of the way all these emotional factors tie together, and all the organ systems tie together. We're looking to make everyone healthy by making sure that the mother and the child and the mother and the child and the mother and the child, basically all the organ systems and how they feed each other, are having their needs met. And ultimately that leads to Frank's back working better, because then everything's flowing, and flowing leads to strength. All of you have had muscle testing before, right? Like, oh, if it's strong, It means the supplement I'm holding or the question I'm being asked and the answer I'm giving is true or is causing things to flow better because then the muscle is strong, right? All that is the energy then expanding in that moment, going to all the extremities saying, yep, that's right, full flow. And that's what we want for Frank. That's what we want for all of you, is that all that energy moving. You know, Debbie says strength to get through family meeting family later this week. And as Debbie says that, you know, I can feel her heart is very much in the forefront of that statement. In her text, I can feel through the text the organ system that's talking to me as she writes that sentence for me. Leanne says uterine fibroids and possible cysts, possible long-term emotions connect with that. Absolutely. And so we feel into that one, right? And I feel heart and very much pericardium, which is very much a strong, as she's saying there, a possible long-term emotional background to that. And then if I feel deeper into that pattern for her, there's a strong physical pattern from that as well, though. Like an external invasion. In other words, something's coming from the outside and moving into Leanne's body and causing a disruption in that lower jowl, that lower aspect of her body. But it's very much tied to her heart. She's correct on that. So see how we're working here is we're tying all these things together to try to figure out what the underpinnings are for what you're asking for, and yet do it for usually around 40 people on these. And so you can imagine we have to basically take your individual requests that we're reading, even right now, talking to Diane here. Diane says, regenerate a new heart. And I know Diana's background. And so I understand what she's talking about. Then I also can feel what's pressing in the moment that helps her to go towards that end result or that end goal. So we're looking at for everybody's post on here. And most people are energetically lacking in life force and energy. Almost everybody is. And so what we're looking for is to boost that. And that's really a part of what we're both doing, but I'm silently for sure doing over here, is I am sending energy to try to boost all of you. And then what happens, the organ systems that are screaming at us for assistance, they stop screaming like hungry little children because they're going, oh, you're feeding me life force. I'm not deficient anymore. And they go off in the corner and suck their thumbs, and they're pretty placated. And so then what we're left with are the organ systems. Yeah, you can share, absolutely, Frank. And then what you're dealing with then are the true organ systems from my lens that really need the assistance, because they're not just chi deficient or life force deficient. They truly have dysfunction that needs to be addressed, and then they come to the surface. My students here know everything I'm saying right now because we talk about it all the time. I see quite a few of you here. I'm going to see you in this one too. Gotcha, Lucia. Our son is singing in his bed right now.
Angelica, yes, we can include your mom.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Jeannie. Hi, Diana. Renee. Good to see you, Matthew.
Angelica, can you write your mom's name in the chat just so I can connect to her easier that way? Okay, thanks everyone for all of your requests and input. It's good. It's a lot of energy to work with. So the main thing that I want to say is just don't be afraid to hand it over. Whatever you realize is in you that you would like, shifted or lightened, whatever, just hand it over. Don't feel like you're being rude in doing so, because we're literally taking the energy that you're offering and we're molding it and working with it. So if we don't have any, then not much we can do.
I'm almost there. I know I'm not calling all your names out, but I am reading through every single one of your posts.
I read all of them too, just so you guys know. Okay.
And Jolene, that's his liver. His liver primarily is the issue.
Lots of liver stuff tonight.
Mm-hmm. Got it, Diane.
Diane, I'm sorry to hear about your mom.
Gotcha, Donna. Mary Sieber, Ellen, Sue, Sandra, thank you. Mm-hmm. Barbara. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of liver.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
A lot of intestines too.
Yeah, guts, digestion in general. Did she make that public? Let's see if I can address this with her or not. Forgive me, I just want to make sure that. Where did I see that? Was that Sandra? Sandra, do you know the moving form of Pangu Shingon? The Qigong form? There you are. Okay.
She said, yeah.
How much are you getting in a day? Quite a bit?
2 or 3 times.
So I'm going to recommend to work your way up to 2 hours collectively throughout the whole day, cumulatively. 2 hours worth total. Perfect. Awesome. Okay.
Okay, I'm ready to
Let's
get
do
going.
it. Let's rock and
you?
roll. It's been a long time since we rock and roll.
Okay, so all you
Yeah.
guys have to do is just relax and do your best not to get distracted and just follow along. Just really sink into it and just relax and follow along.
Hi,
That's
Marissa.
it.
Good to see you. Okay, I'm ready. I've got everybody ready. Everybody's good.
Okay. So also we're going to record this, and I send out an email with it, but if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, the video is always, I always put the video up. So sometimes I'm a little late to the game sending out the email, but I'm usually pretty prompt about putting it on the YouTube channel. So.
All right, virtual needles are going in, and it's time for me to shut my mouth permanently. Talk to you guys later. Well, for the next 35 minutes, she's like, liar, liar, pants on fire. You never shut your mouth. Bill's like, I know that's true. Traveled cross country and he's a chatterbox. Ooh. Governing vessel number 20.
It's okay, Keith. I have the same issue with my mouth.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay. So as I feel the totality of the energy of the group, there's a lot going on, but one of the threads that I feel going through, and we'll start here, is defeated. And we will work our way through. So if you don't find a connection right now to defeated, that's okay. You'll still hear whatever you've got going on through the process. If you do feel a connection to defeated, just go ahead and let yourself feel that, because we're gonna transform it. Feels like no matter how much I do, no matter how proactive I am, no matter how prolific I am, how productive I am, I still feel like I'm so often at least taking a couple steps forward and then sometimes the same amount of steps backwards. Or maybe 3 steps forward and 2 steps backwards. And it ends up making me feel like I'm not making much progress. I have these moments of motivation and energy, and I feel like I'm really getting ahead in those moments. And then somehow it dies off, and I feel like I sink, and I'm back where I started. And I just end up wondering, how long is it going to take me to go anywhere that I want to go, to make the kind of progress that I want to make, if it's this slow going for me? And I look around and it seems like a lot of people feel this way. Like we're all on some kind of hamster wheel. And we really want to be going somewhere. And we really want to be accomplishing things. But it so often feels like we're not. And we're trying to stay positive, and we're trying to stay motivated, and we're trying to stay uplifted. But so often it's like swimming upstream. Like it takes energy to try. And I can't figure out how to get the momentum going better. What are the things that need to click into gear for the momentum to go faster, to be more accumulative? And it makes me wonder, am I just trying too hard? What kind of effort am I putting into it? Is it predominantly mental effort? Am I paying attention to any kind of flow? Or am I genuinely just trying too hard to make something happen? So the energy has changed into reflection. I have all of these ideas about what I want to occur, about the speed in which I want things to occur. And I feel like they should be happening exactly as I want them to happen. And I realize that as I put that type of energy into it, I actually make myself feel even more frustrated. Because I'm trying so hard to force something. And I can't figure out what's the sweet spot. When am I supposed to push? And when am I supposed to just let go? And I get so afraid because if I don't push and if I don't try, and if I don't put forth that kind of effort that feels important to me, then I feel like I'm sabotaging the whole thing. But when I reflect, I see maybe I'm sabotaging by trying to force so much. And it makes me wonder what kind of alignment needs to happen for this to flow easier. For the momentum to happen easier. What wave am I supposed to ride? Since I obviously can't make the wave. And as I ask this question, I can feel this space inside my chest. Like something opened up. Where energy starts to flow and I can actually feel it. So we're going to allow this energy that's now flowing into our chests to speak. When I understand what I want and why I want it, the alignment is easier. So much of the time we're telling ourselves stories about why we want something, and it's not the real story. Instead, we're telling ourselves a story about why we should want it, or that we expect that everyone else thinks we should want it. And often what we really want is simpler, different, and easier. Because what we really want doesn't really have anything to do with what anyone else wants for us. It just has to do with wanting it for ourselves. Usually just to feel better, to feel happier, to feel more peaceful, to feel more connected, to feel more settled. To feel safe, to feel a sense of belonging. And as I allow myself to honestly get in touch with what I actually want, and I allow myself to feel why I want it and the simplicity of why I want it, the energy flow becomes stronger. Where I can actually feel the wave instead of trying to force the wave to exist. And so much of the time right now, what I can feel that we want, what we all want, is to feel safe. Just simply safe. Safe to say what's real for us. Safe to be ourselves. Safe to cry if we're sad. Safe to laugh if we're humored. Safe to say no. Safe to say yes. Safe to have our own opinions. Safe to just exist, minding our own business. Not being monitored constantly. By those judging our thoughts, our actions, our desires. And as I reflect on how deeply we want to feel this kind of safety in all of these different dimensions, I feel a deep sadness that we don't. So the energy is changed into sadness. How many ways can our environment feel hostile? We already have enough fears of losing each other, of dying, becoming ill, of feeling disconnected. feeling lost. And on top of all of the normal stressors of just being alive, we have so much compounded stress, unnecessary stress. Taking a toll on us. And we're trying to avoid this sadness that we feel because we're afraid if we sink down into it, we'll never get out of it. So as we're here together safely, we're going to sink down into it. Such tragedy is upon us. I can feel it in everyone. Sometimes it takes my breath away. The depth of it. And as I'm in it, it's strange to say that it has a profound richness. Because within the sadness is so much love. Love for each other. Love for our lives. Love for our freedom. Love for our future. Love for this planet. And in this deep space of sadness where the love is so prevalent, we're acutely aware of how good it could be. Which makes the gap between where we are and the hardships we're enduring and where we know we can be seem enormous and therefore contribute to our sadness even more. But as we allow ourselves to connect into this great love that's connecting us, and allow ourselves to feel the gap between where we are and where we want to be, we have a clear space to travel. And through our connection, we can travel. We can bring into being. We can support and alleviate each other's pain. So the energy is changed into support. In this space of connection, I can feel that none of us are alone. None of us are alone in our fear. None of us are alone in our grief. None of us are alone in our worry. And even though we often feel isolated, we're not even alone in our isolation. And as I train myself not to avoid pain, but instead connect with others through it, I feel less of it because I can feel the support. Through this mystical web of communication, somehow connecting all of us. And in this connection, I feel stronger, uplifted, and motivated. Because I don't feel like I'm doing it all on my own. The energy is changed into connection. I've learned that connection is the most important aspect of our lives together that we have to focus on. And our connection can be fostered in so many ways. We can foster our connection through deep listening, through empathy, we can foster our connection through words of encouragement, we can foster our connection through honesty and acceptance. We can foster our connection through acts of kindness. We can foster our connection through intentionally sending energy to each other. We can foster our connection through communing with nature. We can foster our connection through believing in each other. And as we foster this, our strength increases for ourselves individually and for all of us as a whole. And as I allow myself to focus on connection through all of these myriad of ways, the fears and worries and doubts dissipate within me. Because I can feel the power of the connection. And I know that if that energy exists, we can do all kinds of amazing things with it. So I allow myself to receive the energy of this connection. I allow it to fill me up. Saturating every cell of me. Infusing me with a special confidence. The energy has changed to confidence. It's important to remind ourselves that everything we need is already here. It's simply about connecting to it. It's simply about creating flow to receive it. And since I know that receptivity is based on connection, I'm confident in my ability to receive because I'm confident in my ability to connect. And so much of the time it's just simple. That the worry and exhaustion and fear and ill health is all connected to the habit of cutting ourselves off. From the flow of energy that we receive from one another, from the flow of energy that we receive from great nature, from the flow of energy that we receive from the source of all life. And as I spend time and effort training myself to keep this door open, I'm confident in feeling greater and greater vitality, greater and greater strength, and greater calm. We forget that that which created us never left us, never leaves us. It's a part of us. It is us. And we have all the power to train ourselves into flow and alignment with that which created us. So I dedicate myself to more practices that create habits of alignment and flow. I dedicate myself to paying attention to the ways I speak to myself, which either create a cutoff or an open flow. I pay attention to the way I speak to others and the way I think about others, paying attention to whether I'm creating a cutoff or a greater flow. In every area of my life, I dedicate myself to paying attention to whether I'm creating flow or stagnation. And instead of trying to make a wave or create movement or force movement, I instead allow myself to open up to the movement that already exists. Tapping into the nuance of that energy, how to connect with it, how to ride it, how to allow it to show me what my next move is. So that I develop a greater trust in both myself and my life and that which created me. And as I cultivate this trust, I'm more efficient with my energy, more intentional with my energy, and therefore healthier in every way. We are the recipients of splendid beauty, health, vitality, luminescence. We need only train ourselves to feel it, align with it, and receive it. And allow yourselves to come back. So, how's everyone feeling?
Snoozy. I think I'll really sleep good tonight, which will be good.
Good. Perfect.
Took me a while to settle my brain, but then I was like,
Thanks for your feedback, guys.
like we stated from the beginning, on my end, I worked a lot on liver. There's a lot locked up and blocked up through here, physically, energetically, through that physical area. So a lot of frustration, a lot of anger, stuffed emotion, and then ultimately a lot of lung grief, sadness. I mean, just over and over again. As I was dropping down inside what we call the egoic field, I got into a lot of fear, of course, as well. So those are the primary things: grief, sadness, fear, and frustration, anger. You know. So just know that sometimes whenever we do this and you're done, you don't always feel perky and right as rain right afterwards. Sometimes you have to have a processing of what's been brought up to be energetically digested before you're on the other side of it. So tomorrow can be kind of rough, and it feels that way for us too. I mean, it's the next day it might be like, oh man, what did we pour through last night? You might feel the same way as your body is coming to terms with a new way of being. And Vicki, that is about lungs. A lot of it.
Good.
By the way, Caroline, more bats. She knows what I'm talking about. Anybody else? All right.
You guys, thanks for all of your feedback.
Go back and watch this in the replay, and you'll get a lot out of it. It reinforces what we've done. You should feel quite a bit from the replay itself. Good. Excellent. Frank?
Relax, loose, feel good. Good.
Good, Matthew. Good tell, Matthew. Good analysis of what's going on inside of you. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Maria. How to access the replay? Angel will fire that out there, and it's on, well, you're not on Facebook. So yeah, it'll be through an email.
Well, look, I always upload this video to our YouTube channel. So our YouTube channel is
crazyfullmonty.com. I'm kidding. It's not.
no, it's not. It's Angel-Geschichte.
Thanks, Frank, for being on here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Frank.
And of course, all of you, Lisa, thank you.
It's Angel-Geschichte and Keith Coley is our YouTube channel.
Did you guys catch that?
On Facebook, I'll just post the link
Yeah.
in the thread. But also, I send out an email eventually. So if you want to be on our email list for getting the recordings, just either write Keith your email or write me your email.
And good to hear that, Sandra. I'm glad to hear that's what you had going on in your lungs. It's perfect.
So put our email in the chat. I'll put the email in the chat here as well. Just send me a little shout out and say, I want to be on the email list so I can get the recordings. But if you don't want to do that, just go to the YouTube channel or go to our Facebook page where the videos are always up.
And I want to say one last thing for Sandra here, and anybody else this qualifies for, which is basically everybody here who knows the Qigong form. When you're going to do the Qigong and you have something specific going on you know about or suspect, you can always ask for that thing to be focused on while you're doing the Qigong. You just make the request, and then you start doing the form. And it does make a difference on where it certainly keeps going in the beginning anyway, and then energy is going to go where it needs to go. But it's a great thing to say, you know, I'd really love to work on this. And you get going with it. Then I remind myself of that sometimes as I'm doing it. All right.
And for those of you that don't know, we have something called a Cultivate Life Force Health System. And we actually send energy to everyone who's in that system every single day. So if you like what you get in a full Monty and you'd like to have that type of support every single day, you can join our Cultivate Life Force Health System.
And then what happens every Wednesday on a Zoom call, like we have over here on Zoom, is I treat everybody for an hour. You tell me what you want to work on, ask questions, and it's, of course, much more interactive verbally usually than this, which is mostly chat. And then I work on you every Wednesday, and so that's going on as well. And then really, you know, if you've got something acute or pressing, just let me know if you're a part of that group.
Yeah, so the Cultivate Life Force Health System, just so you guys know, it's $100 a month, and you get daily support in it. So if you want to sign up for that,
I'm
what is it?
getting ready to put it. It's www.cultivate. No. What is it? CultivateLifeForce.com, right? I'm a superb typist, so this is going really well. I think that got it.
Here, I'll write it on this one.
And she'll do it 3 times as fast as I did. I took typing in high school. It just didn't stick.
All right. So, and if you guys have any questions, just feel free to reach out to us. And thank you so much for being a part of this again. We
We'll
love
see.
you guys, and it's always wonderful to connect in this way.
See you soon.
Thanks.
Welcome.